Pokket here with Scott Hartsman, and just go ahead and explain to people what you do here at Rift.
So on Rift, I'm the exec producer and the studio general manager. That means I convert valuable oxygen to carbon dioxide for a living and get to work around and with some of the best and greatest game designers and developers and artists in the history of MMOs, if you ask me.
I wouldn't know personally, but so you guys just announced your expansion. Can you tell us what's coming in this expansion?
Yeah, sure. Storm Legion, for us, it was about taking all of the stuff that we thought was working really well in Rift, and taking that up a notch, as well as adding a bunch of new features that we knew we were never going to be able to get around to adding in just the live game. You know, Rift, as you probably are well aware, we have a history for being super aggressive in terms of how often we're updating and what we're sending out. So to a lot of people, it just kind of took them by surprise that we were even doing an expansion. And so to us, it was a chance to, like I said, just really level up the whole game. Tons new space. The world at the time that we launched the expansion is going to be 3 times as big as it was at launch. There's going to be bigger events, bigger zones, more dungeons, more raids, plus new stuff that we've never done before. These huge behemoth encounters. We're leveling up the zone events. One of the behemoth encounters we're showing off today, it's a boss. You target multiple parts of him. You can shoot his armor off of him. It's the total opposite of what you would expect in like a tank and spank encounter.
Yeah.
He's 1,000 feet tall. There is no tanking. He's there to destroy a city, and you're there to stop him. It's really trying out some cool new stuff, and then introducing new features like dimensions and some other cool things along the way.
Now, what is, I guess, your favorite feature that is coming out in this expansion?
So I'm a huge fan of zone events. I am a zone event addict. I play them constantly, and so I'm really excited that we get to take those and, like I said, take them up to the next level. There's new mechanics in a lot of them. There are, and they all kind of build to this example behemoth encounter that we're showing off here at the show. It's not a boss encounter like I think has been done really in any other MMO. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's uniquely us, where he changes his behavior based on what parts of his armor you've destroyed. If you knock off his lower leg armor, he will change state and now try to shield his leg. You can go onto a jump pad and leap 100 feet in the air, and if you brush past his chest when his chest is charging up, you get a temporary ability that you can launch from afar that does devastating damage to him. There's really clever mechanics in all of these things, and it takes it, like I said, way far past tank and spank big bosses.
Now, is there going to be any more focus on open world PvP in these larger zones that are coming out?
So PvP was actually so important to us that we very intentionally are going out with Conquest before the expansion. We actually had debated for a time. Conquest is this shared world, cross-world PvP gameplay concept, and yeah, we absolutely are confident enough in it to where we could have held it back and turned it into one of the core expansion box features. Instead, we actually wanted to get it out live and get people playing it even sooner than that, so we decided to include it in the live game.
Awesome. Now, can you explain to our viewers what Conquest is?
Yeah, Conquest is our way of kind of getting around some of the inherent limitations in a 2-faction system. 2-faction systems, especially when they're persistent factions, can be problematic, as soon as they go out of balance and so on. And we really wanted to do bigger stuff that was cross-server as well. And so there are 3 factions in the Conquest areas. Players can pledge to a specific faction, and then it's not as tight of an association as your Guardian and Defiant choice. Yeah. So there will be Guardians and Defiants playing together depending on which of these factions they have chosen to pledge to, and those factions are more based on outlook and philosophy. And so they all have their own story, and it's a cool thing, but you can also hop between them to keep things in balance, and it's just a different concept for us that we thought would work really well, because we've definitely had tons of players asking for something like this. And then the fact that we get it working across servers like this too helps a lot as well.
Now, I'm assuming that you're going to be able to just go and leave as you please in the Conquest area.
Yeah, yeah. Conquest is drop in, drop out gameplay, but they are longer term battles.
Yes.
I think the last playtest that we did, it was either the last or the previous one. One of the battles themselves raged on for about 4 hours, and so it was, and it actually didn't even end at the time of the test, because there's just there's a lot of attack defend, sneak around behind the enemy line kind of gameplay where you're taking over space that they've captured, and you are, crafting up buffs for your own, crafting up team-wide buffs for your side, harvesting resources. There's a lot of different stuff going on. So it's drop in, drop out, but it's there for people who, really just want, hey, I just want to go on and be part of a huge battle.
I just want a face roll.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to be part of a constant war and be, in this huge space for PvP, and that's what we were, like I said, it's big, it's definitely big enough to where we could have held it back for an expansion and charged for it. But since we knew we wanted to do something really big for PvP very rapidly, we pulled it out in the live instead.
Now, you said something about, Guardian Defiant, they're going to be on the same teams in this Conquest area.
Yep.
And there are people who are like, well, what about the lore?
Right.
How is this going against the lore? And how are you making it work?
And so here's the thing, is I think that, so I'm not the lore expert on the lore behind the 3 individual factions. It is fictionally sound and it is fictionally consistent. That's the part that our lore designers are really charged with for this. So yeah, they came up with, like I said, these are based a lot on outlooks, and how that kind of structure could fit into this multi-dimensional Talara that we're in. The concept of a server in our world, for instance, is nothing more than they're considered shards of the same reality, or shards of different realities.
Yeah.
And so I think it actually makes sense that in a shared world PvP kind of thing, you could have factions that definitely span the traditional boundaries.
And you did mention crafting as well. And
Yep.
I personally am not a huge crafter because I'm lazy and I just buy it. But how is crafting going to play a role in this 3-faction fighting?
So it's, the gameplay itself is more than just go out in the field and kill other players. There's points to capture, because there's points to capture. There are resources to gather and take back to your base, and then there are also there's buffs that can be crafted based on which of your pre-existing crafting choices or craft skill choices you've already taken, and then crafters can turn those captured resources into, right now we have them as side-wide buffs for their team, but since it does use the normal crafting system, I mean, if it works out well, we could add all kinds of stuff to this thing.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Now, how is this 3-faction system going to differ from other games that currently have 3-faction wars? That, like, you have your Dayoth, Warhammer, and various other games that are coming out in the future.
Sure.
So how is this going to be different than those?
So for us, it was. For starters, I'm not the expert in all of those games, so I apologize if I get anything wrong here. But I mean, to us, it was really about creating. How can we take advantage of this server infrastructure that we have, where we can actually do content across servers really well? As we've done with, we did it with Dungeons, we did it with Warfronts, and so doing it for larger world PvP just was a natural fit for us. So for that aspect of it, and then really making sure that we had multiple types of gameplay represented, where it's, like I said, it's more than just slaughter the enemies. There's actually a point, there's end conditions, there's really good rewards, and there's something for everybody to do, even if you are the crafter friend or the stealthy friend who wants to run out and be a ninja gatherer and really doesn't care about the war part so much. So for us, it was really about what can we do that takes advantage of the underlying tech that we have that can provide a cool type of gameplay, even if the hardcore PvP part isn't what you're interested in. You do have a role you can play here, and it's fun.
I'm going to switch gears a little bit, and there's people that haven't tried Rift, or maybe people that tried it and they're taking a hiatus from it. So what features do you think are going to bring these people in? Like, if you could say that this is it, you guys need to come and check this out, come back.
Yeah.
What is that feature?
So I think, like I said, it's been the enhancement, well, ever since we announced the expansion, the day we announced that there was an expansion coming was, it was really neat to see both as a player of the game and as a guy who works on it. As a guy who works on the game, I saw all of our numbers go up and do correct things that numbers are supposed to do when things are going well. But then just as a player of the game, seeing friends coming back and hearing from them what had them the most excited. The fact that there's new souls has some people excited. The fact that there will be dimensions and will be spaces for people to own in the world. And quite frankly, the fact that there's a ton of new content and a ton of new world has people kind of excited about finishing up everything that's there in the game and getting caught up right now. I've heard all those reasons from people, and I'm one of those people who plays every aspect of our game, so I'm excited about everything.
Certainly. Now, is there anything that you want to tell our viewers specifically about the game?
Other than, if you're not playing it, why aren't you playing it? Get back in and be playing it. It's actually a lot of fun.
And we'll hunt him down and we'll kill him.
Probably.
In the game. So, well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. It was a pleasure, and hope you enjoy the rest of your E3.
Great seeing you as always.